Denver Broncos jokes, NFL jokes. Q. How many Denver Broncos does it take to win a Super Bowl? A. Only one, number 7, and he is retired. Q. What's Peyton Manning's favorite TV show? A. Duck Dynasty. Richard Sherman might have grown up in Compton, but Peyton Manning has been through 2 world wars, 20 presidents, and is a genuine fossil. Q. What's the difference between the Denver Broncos and a dollar bill? A. You can still get 4 quarters out of a dollar bill. Q. What do the Denver Broncos and possums have in common? A. Both play dead at home and get killed on the road. Q. What is the difference between a Broncos fan and a baby? A. The baby will stop whining after a while. Q. What's the difference between the Broncos and cigarettes? A. Russell Wilson doesn't smoke cigarettes. Q. What do you call a season worth of Peyton Manning game tapes? A. Duck Dynasty. Q. What did the Broncos fan say after his team won the Super Bowl? A. Damn it, Mom, why'd you wake me up? I was having an amazing dream. Q. How are the Broncos like my neighbors? A. They can't pick up a single yard. Q. What do the Denver Broncos and a Chick-fil-A manager have in common? A. Neither one shows up for work on Sunday. Q. Want to hear a Broncos joke? A. Monty Ball. Q. Why is Monty Ball like a grizzly bear? A. Every fall he goes into hibernation. Q. How many Broncos fans does it take to change a light bulb? A. None. They are happy living in San Diego's shadow. Q. How many Denver Broncos does it take to change a tire? A. 1, unless it's a blowout, in which case they all show up. Q. What do you call 53 millionaires around a TV watching the Super Bowl? A. The Denver Broncos. Q. What do the Denver Broncos and Billy Graham have in common? A. They both can make 70,000 people stand up and yell Jesus Christ. Q. How do you keep a Denver Bronco out of your yard? A. Put up goalposts. Q. What's the best way to teach your dog to roll over and play dead? A. Have him watch a couple Denver Broncos games. Q. Why are so many Denver Broncos players claiming they have the swine flu? A. So they don't have to touch the pigskin. Dear Richard Sherman, I'm getting all my ducks in a row. Sincerely, Peyton Manning. Q. What did the Denver Broncos get for trading Brandon Marshall to the Miami Dolphins? A. A first-round pick and a felon to be named later. Q. What is a Denver Broncos fan's favorite wine? A. We can't beat San Diego. Q. How do you stop a Denver Broncos fan from beating his wife? A. Dress her in San Diego blue and yellow. Q. What is the difference between a bucket of shit and a Denver Broncos fan? A. The bucket. Q. If you have a car containing a Broncos wide receiver, a Broncos linebacker, and a Broncos defensive back, who is driving the car? A. The cop. Q. How do you castrate a Denver Broncos fan? A. Kick his sister in the mouth. Q. What should you do if you find 3 Denver Broncos football fans buried up to their neck in cement? A. Get more cement. Q. What's the difference between a Denver Broncos fan and a carp? A. One is a bottom-feeding scum sucker, and the other is a fish. Q. How did the Denver Broncos fan die from drinking milk? A. The cow fell on him. Q. What does a Denver Broncos fan do when his team has won the Super Bowl? A. He turns off the PlayStation 3. Q. What do you call a Denver Bronco in the Super Bowl? A. A referee. Q. Did you hear that Denver's football team doesn't have a website? A. They can't string 3 Ws together. Q. How many Denver Broncos fans does it take to change a light bulb? A. None. Lava lamps don't burn out, man. Q. What does a Denver Broncos fan and a bottle of beer have in common? A. they're both empty from the neck up. Q. Why do Denver Broncos fans keep their season tickets on their dashboards? A. So they can park in handicap spaces. Q. How do the Chargers spend the first week of training camp? A. Studying the Miranda rights. Q. How do you keep a Broncos fan from masturbating? A. You paint his dick Chargers blue and he won't beat it for 4 years. Q. Why do the Denver Broncos want to change their name to the Denver Tampons? A. Because they are only good for one period and do not have a second string. Q. What's the difference between the Denver Broncos and the Taliban? A. The Taliban has a running game. Q. Where do you go in Denver in case of a tornado? A. Invesco Field. They never get a touchdown there. Q. Why do ducks fly over Invesco Field upside down? A. There's nothing worth craping on. Q. Why doesn't Boulder have a professional football team? A. Because then Denver would want one. Q. Why are Denver Broncos jokes getting dumb and dumber? A. Because Broncos fans have started to make them up themselves. Q. What's the difference between Denver Broncos fans and mosquitoes? A. Mosquitoes are only annoying in the summer. Did you hear that Sports Authority Field had to be resodded? That's really sad when you can't even get your own grass to root for you. Dog's excitement. A Charger fan walks into a bar. There is Broncos memorabilia all over the bar. The bartender is decked out in Broncos gear. The bartender is watching the Broncos/Chargers game on TV, along with a dog wearing a Broncos sweater. The Charger fan orders a beer, and starts watching the game. The score is 27-0 in the first quarter in favor of the Chargers. Orton drives the Broncos down to the 3-yard line, but again, can't punch it into the end zone. They kick a field goal, making the score 27-3. The bartender and the dog both go crazy. The dog is jumping all over the bar, barking, tail wagging. The Chargers fan is pretty amazed at the dog's reaction. The Charger fan says, "That's some dog you got there, buddy." "What does he do when Denver scores a touchdown?" The bartender says, "How would I know? I've only had him for 3 years." Broncos fan. On the first day of school, a first-grade teacher explains to her class that she is a Broncos fan. She asks her students to raise their hands if they, too, are Broncos fans. Wanting to impress their teacher, everyone in the class raises their hand except one little girl. The teacher looks at the girl with surprise. "Janie, why didn't you raise your hand?" "Because I'm not a Broncos fan," she replied. The teacher, still shocked, asked, "Well, if you are not a Broncos fan, then who are you a fan of?" "I am a Chargers fan, and proud of it," Janie replied. The teacher could not believe her ears. "Janie, please tell us why you are a Chargers fan." "Because my mom is a Chargers fan, and my dad is Chargers fan, so I'm a Chargers fan too." "Well," said the teacher in a obviously annoyed tone, "that is no reason for you to be a Chargers fan. You don't have to be just like your parents all of the time. What if your mom was an idiot and your dad was a moron? What would you be then?" "Then," Janie smiled, "I'd be a Broncos fan." 4 football fans. A Redskins fan, an Eagles fan, a Broncos fan, and a Chargers fan are climbing a mountain and arguing about who loves his team more. The Redskins fan insists he is the most loyal. "This is for the Redskins," he yells, and jumps off the side of the mountain. Not to be outdone, the Eagles fan shouts, "This is for the Eagles," and throws himself off the mountain. The Chargers fan is next to profess his love for his team. He yells, "This is for everyone," and pushes the Broncos fan off the mountain.